A young deer fell in love with a rabbit. They were inseparable. The deer was clumsy, but the rabbit always tolerated its silliness. One day, they had a huge argument over a TV show. Furious, the rabbit stormed out, while the deer vented its anger at the screen. Suddenly, a strange cube appeared on the TV. It wasn't just colorful, it had an unusual 3D shape. Then, in the blink of an eye, it vanished. No matter how hard the deer searched, it was gone. From that day on, the deer became obsessed with exploring the three-dimensional world, so much so that it barely noticed the rabbit anymore. Days passed. The deer was still lost in its research. The rabbit, feeling sorry, brought it some snacks. But the deer didn't even glance up, just gobbled them down mindlessly. Then, it shoved aside a water cup, nearly knocking over a pile of books. The rabbit quickly grabbed the cup, but in the rush, the entire stack collapsed. The sudden disruption shattered the deer's focus. Furious, it shoved the rabbit out of the room. The rabbit, equally angry, threw the water cup right at the deer. When the deer woke up again, the cube was right in front of it. It picked it up and, to its shock, realized that it had turned 3D too. Then came an even bigger surprise. The world it once lived in was just a piece of paper. Even the rabbit, the one it loved most, was trapped inside that flat world. Determined, the deer dashed toward the paper and used its antlers to tear a crack in it. But that wasn't enough. To free the rabbit, the deer grabbed a pencil, drew dashed lines around it, and carefully cut it out with scissors. Finally, they could touch each other. As they pushed open the tear, the rabbit saw something breathtaking: a vast, green meadow, completely different from the world they knew. The deer eagerly documented everything, while the rabbit joyfully played with a butterfly, embracing their brand new reality. But then disaster struck. A single drop of water fell from the sky, landing on the rabbit's hand. Within seconds, it started to dissolve. Before the rabbit could react, a powerful gust of wind swept it away. Thankfully, the deer managed to catch the rabbit just in time, but the storm carried them deep into the forest. As the rain kept falling, the rabbit's body began to wither and break apart. Panicked, the deer sprinted home, clutching the fragile rabbit. Back inside, the deer quickly hung the rabbit up to dry, using a hairdryer to gently warm its body. Then, grabbing an eraser and a pencil, it carefully performed a makeshift surgery, fixing the rabbit piece by piece. Once everything was in place, the deer gently placed the rabbit back onto the paper. And then a miracle happened. The rabbit came back to life, but when they tried to hug, they couldn't touch each other. Frustrated, the deer grabbed the cube and threw it back onto the paper. Instantly, it flattened, turning 2D again. Something clicked in the deer's mind. It rushed toward the drawing, hoping for another miracle. But this time, nothing happened. The deer could never go back. Yet, in the end, they were still together. Even in different dimensions, they could still do the same things, share the same moments, and feel the same happiness.